Hey there, Grumpy Old Fart here. I'm doing an unexplained mystery video. If I do any more of these flight videos like this, I'm doing Flight 914. If I do more any of those airplane mysteries, I may have to start calling them unexplained phenomena. I did one before on Flight 513, and I said in that video that, I can't really call it a phenomenon because it only happened once. Well, apparently stuff goes on with flights all the time. I'm going to have to start calling these phenomena as well if I find some more. Let's get right into it. Flight 914. I did a video a while back about Flight 513, the aircraft that disappeared for decades and then landed successfully, taxied over there and stopped with a bunch of skeletons on board. Go and check that out. Yeah, there were no people on board. It was just skeletons. It was crazy. This one is very similar, but has some distinct differences. Let me give you a little background here. In July of 1955, Pan Am Flight 914 left the New York City airport bound for Miami. Should have been a quick and easy flight, right? Instead, with no distress signal and with no wreckage found, Flight 914 with 57 passengers simply vanished. Gone. An extensive search was conducted, but as I said, nothing was found. It just vanished. Nobody knows what happened to it. Everyone presumed that it was lost and would never be found. Then, get this. 37 years later, in 1992, in Caracas, Venezuela, air traffic controllers were having a normal day. Then they noticed an old propeller-driven passenger airliner coming in for a landing. Their radar scope was clear, so they didn't see it on the radar, but they all saw the plane. It was there. They watched it. They made radio contact with the plane and asked the pilot to identify his plane. The pilot replied that this was Pan Am Flight 914 and that they were ready to touch down in Miami. The air traffic controller notified the pilot that the airport was in Venezuela. The pilot was horrified because somehow he had bypassed Miami and flown an additional 1,200 miles. You think they would have noticed that, The plane landed and ground crew saw passengers, looking out the windows, and they were all wearing old-fashioned clothing, like from the 50s. They all seemed very confused. After a long silence, the pilot radioed the tower requesting that they confirm the date. The tower told him that it was May 21st, 1992. Then the pilot opened his window and began waving away the ground crew, screaming that they needed to leave. As he waved his hands, something fluttered down from the clipboard that he was holding. The pilot then throttled forward and sped up for takeoff. The plane lifted into the air and flew off into the clouds. The air traffic controller ran down and grabbed the paper that fell off the pilot's clipboard. It was a calendar dated July of 1955. The airplane was identified by the tail numbers and the call sign as Flight 914, the same plane that had disappeared all those years before. That particular airplane was never seen again. This is what we know. Flight 914 left New York City in 1955, in July of 1955, bound for Miami. It disappeared. Then it landed in Venezuela 37 years later? Yeah, 37 years later in 1992. Those are verifiable recorded facts. Nobody can dispute them. People have said, well, it was a hoax. It was all bullshit. They made it up. Tell that to the FAA. The FAA has strict rules, and they have them all over the world. When you're governing the control of airplanes in the sky, yeah, everything's got to be recorded. Everything's got to be precise. That plane landed in Venezuela, and then it took off again, and it was never seen again, to the best of our knowledge. Who knows? Maybe it'll show up here in a few years. We don't know. Here's another thing that I was thinking about. Flight 914 landed in Venezuela. Flight 513 landed in Brazil. Is there some kind of a wormhole in the air that funnels aircraft to South America? Or is that just a coincidence? I did a video. I do unexplained phenomena or unexplained places videos on different areas in the world. I did one, I want to say it was on Brazil itself, because Brazil has a lot of weird shit going on. The whole country. And it happens all throughout South America. Crazy stuff. The difference between Flight 914 and Flight 513 is at least these passengers were alive. There's hope for them. The others were turned out to be skeletons. Now, I'm spitballing air. Because I don't, with the wormhole thing, because we don't know. What we do know is the plane disappeared in 55, showed up in 92, 93, whatever it was. 92. And that's verified. That is absolutely verified. If it's a hoax, it is an oh my god, amazing, intricate, and well thought out, well planned, well funded hoax. And they're hoaxing the people who control other people's lives with the air traffic controllers. That is not smart. I can't see anybody doing that. You can hoax a person who takes a video of something they can't explain. You can hoax that. But that's a bit much. That's all I'm saying. If you guys have any other comments or any other ideas, put them down in the comments. I'm sure we'd love to read them. Even if you think I'm full of shit. You folks have a good one. God bless one and all. There is a house in New Orleans where the monsters all hang out. When the police detective, who happens to be a skinwalker squirrel, uncovers a plot by a paranormal perpetrator, he has to enlist the aid of his fellow housemates. If you enjoy a modern, quirky take on historical mythology, check out my new original novel, The House Off Farrago Road.